packing Roy Thompson Hall for the 12th annual US College Expo. CB24's Beatrice Vaisman is speaking with admin as well as school reps and, most importantly, these students who have their entire future ahead of them. Where do they want to go to school? They want to go to, do they want to go to TMU, or do they want to go to, Coastal Carolina or, North Carolina or Duke, I don't know, or Central Florida?
I think they're keeping all their options open at this point. I mean, Phil, you got to feel for these kids, right? Some of them are like 15 years old and they're now trying to figure out what they're going to do for the rest of their life. Pretty stressful experience at the best of times, but this is their opportunity to ask a lot of questions to get some answers. Maybe they didn't know they wanted to go to North Dakota, but they secretly do. And so talking to some of these admissions reps might be the key to their, decisions later on. But look at the room. I mean, it's quite busy. There's two different rooms just like this, actually, where you've got admissions staff from a lot of universities from everywhere from Michigan to New York State to Tennessee, North Dakota, Florida, you name it. These schools are here. A couple of Ivy League schools as well. Cornell, huge line. Harvard, huge line. And it really is an opportunity for students to get some of their questions answered, whether it's about the admissions process and academics, about sports. I've talked to several athletes, young athletes who are, eyeing a potential U.S. scholarship, or if some of them have questions about the Trump factor and what's currently happening between Canada and the U.S., they can ask those questions too. And I spoke earlier to a daughter who came all the way from Ottawa with her mom to meet with some of these college reps. Why? She's a goalie, she plays a level A hockey, and she wants a scholarship. And so here's what she told me about what brought her here and the Trump factor as well.
Probably somewhere in Michigan or northern U.S., like Vermont or Maine. I'm really just looking for somewhere with kinesiology and hockey.
I am used to very political challenges and perspectives of Canadians and Americans, and just like Sadie said, just buckling down for the academics and the sports. That's how she'll succeed in, and so I encourage her completely.
And let's hear actually how some of these admissions folks are encouraging these students. I've got Scott Forbes here, the alumnus from University of Michigan. You're talking to these kids, you're talking to their parents. What are you telling them here today?
About my university, how great it is to go there. I enjoyed my time there. They're asking me questions about the entrance, what kind of grades they have to have, test scores, so I'm just kind of filling in with that. I brought my brochures so they can have something to read it when they go home. Just explain my experience and how I enjoyed it there.
How valuable do you think it is for some of these students and their parents to hear directly from you and what your university has to offer, besides an amazing collegiate team in the Wolverines?
I think it's awesome. Just get some information from alumni, how much fun I had when I went there. It's great. I mean, these people want to hear that, right? They want the whole experience. You want the academics, you want the afterlife, you want to experience the culture of the university. And the great thing about Michigan is you grow with Ann Arbor and the University of Michigan are all intertwined together. So it's not like it's its own campus, it's part of the city. So you get the kind of urban city university vibe, which is great.
Michigan, just by proximity to Canada, I'm sure you get a lot of Canadian interest. Has it changed this year because of the Trump factor and the kind of heightened political tensions between these two countries?
I was wondering about that because last year crowds were crazy, right? And to this year, I don't see a drop off, which I'm really surprised by that. But I'm pleasantly surprised. It's great, but I never expected it.
And are there questions about the Trump factor and how it's going to impact their admission?
There hasn't been any, which is shocking. All these kids are really invested into academics. They're not really worried about the political aspects, which is, you see the universities are kind of bastions for student liberalism and kind of learning about the process and having their ideas out there. And I think they feel safer there at the university, and the bigger universities. Some of the smaller, more conservative, probably not so much, but I think it would be a good place for them to go if they want to learn the whole culture and they can express themselves and kind of get away from that whole political shenanigans going on in Washington.
So instead of, dealing with these Trump tariff situations and the political questions, I guess they're more so focused on the athletics, the academics of it, and just, the collegiate experience.
Yeah, they want to know about robotics and, how do I get into med school? How do I get into law school? What do I have to take? What do I need to take now in high school to be eligible for, entrance there? So I don't see any of the political aspect yet. It's refreshing. I really thought it was going to be a big play here, but it wasn't. It's amazing.
Did you mentally prepare, Scott, for those questions, and how are you going to deal with those and answer those on behalf of the university?
No, I just was reading my brochure on the train coming in, trying to remember all the stats and statistics, and I was just going to let the political stuff kind of happen. Whatever they ask me a question, I'll try to explain it the best I can.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time. Sure, clearly, you're doing a good job. You've got a long line. I'll let you get back to work here. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. So, I mean, listen, that's good information, right? I mean, you're hearing here from a rep from the University of Michigan that the Trump tariff conversation hasn't been really much of a conversation here at the US College Expo. I mean, obviously, these are students and parents who are coming here to learn more, Phil, about some of these American universities. That's the whole purpose of them being here, to get their questions answered. And as Scott suggested, he was expecting to see a drop-off this year compared to years past. And according to him, that hasn't happened this year. Keep in mind, there's last year about 29,000 Canadians who went to school post-secondary in the United States. We'll have to wait and see what the numbers are for the following year. But certainly an interesting time we're living in the dynamic relationship between Canada and the U.S., but clearly academics alive and well on both sides of the border.